The hot aroma of internal competition has once again enveloped the Ducati Lenovo garage. Amid Marc Márquez's extraordinary performance, two-time world champion Pecco Bagnaia is struggling with a performance crisis. He even dragged Marquez's name through the mud when he complained to the Ducati boss about the motorbike. What initially seemed like a harmonious relationship between the two MotoGP gladiators on the most dominant team this season slowly revealed itself to be a media illusion. Why was Marc Márquez's name dragged into it when Bagnaia complained about the motorcycle's performance to the Ducati boss? Let's discuss it. Bagnaia, who won 2 world championships for Ducati since moving up to MotoGP in 2019, is now facing a bitter reality. He has yet to find his rhythm in the 2025 season. He has lost his grip and confidence. Most strikingly, he has lost the advantage he used to have in the Red Squad. Meanwhile, Marc Márquez, with all his experience and reputation, appears to have become the rightful heir to the Ducati throne. Having joined at the start of this season, the baby alien has immediately broken through the barriers. He has 6 sprint wins and 3 main race wins and now sits comfortably at the top of the standings with 171 points, 51 points ahead of Bagnaia, who languishes in 3rd place. Ducati course sporting manager Davide Tardozzi tried to calm the situation. He said the relationship between Bagnaia and Marquez was fine. According to Tardozzi, the two riders shook hands, chatted casually, and showed no signs of hostility. However, Bagnaia's comments raised big questions. Instead of focusing on finding technical solutions, he repeatedly mentioned Marquez as a new standard that is difficult to achieve. In the intriguing world of MotoGP, this sounded like an indirect admission that he was losing not only on the track but also in the mental battle. "I don't get anything from the bike," Pecco complained after the French Grand Prix, as quoted in Motosan. "I can do the best time or 4 seconds slower, but the feedback is always the same." These sentences sounded like an admission of defeat. This was especially evident when he compared himself to Marquez. Marc rode a GP23, a bike with limitations. But he never tried a GP24 and went straight to a GP25. That was an incredible leap. This statement, which should have been a compliment, instead showed implicit anxiety. It was as if he was looking for justification for his lost dominance. As if he wanted to say, "I lost because of the bike, not me." Crash.net senior MotoGP journalist, Lewis Duncan, offered a candid evaluation of Pecco Bagnaia's situation this season. According to Duncan, the comments recently made by the defending champion were not just technical complaints but an admission of defeat. "Mentally, Pecco has lost this championship," Duncan said firmly. "When you say your teammate can ride fast on the same bike while you can't, that's not analysis. It's a sign that you've given up." Examining Pecco's statements over the past 2 months reveals that this is indeed the case. They all sound like complaints with one common thread, a veiled plea for help from the team. He constantly presses Ducati for answers. Why isn't his bike responding as it should? Why has his confidence in grip and control disappeared? Why can't he reach his full potential like Marc Márquez? His narrative, once full of confidence, has turned into bitter questions. Pecco Bagnaia seems less like the leader of the Ducati project and more like a rider lost in a technical labyrinth he doesn't fully understand. Marc Márquez's name now echoes in the paddock not only as an icon of speed, but also as a symbol of the pressure-changing Ducati's internal dynamics. During an intense and candid conversation with Davide Tardozzi, Bagnaia explicitly identified Marquez as the primary factor altering the performance standards for Ducati riders. Marquez is no longer just a rival on the track. He is a new benchmark, a reference that makes all previous efforts seem insufficient. "He came and immediately raised the bar. That should have motivated me, but the reality is, I don't feel anything from the bike," said Bagnaia bitterly. The statement may sound simple, but its meaning is profound. It's not just a technical complaint about the bike settings or the tire grip not being optimal. It was a scream from within, born of frustration when a 2-time world champion suddenly lost his way in the face of the threat posed by his new teammate. This rider had just joined the team but immediately mastered the Desmacedicii GP25, as if he had been part of the project for years. In a sport measured in milliseconds where victory margins are often no more than the blink of an eye, Bagnaia's concession of Marc Márquez's superiority was not only a blow to his position as team leader but also a deep wound to his ego. He was challenged not only technically but also mentally. He came like a storm, said a Ducati technician who asked to remain anonymous. What Marquez did was not just speed up the bike, he made everyone in the garage question their work standards, including Pecco. The pressure was not coming from outside sources, such as rivals like Quartararo, Martin, or Binder. The biggest pressure came from within the team. It came from the rider with the number 93, who not only wants to win again but also wants to seize the throne. Pecco Bagnaia, the defending champion, has no choice but to fight, against time, against his bike, and ultimately, against the ever-growing shadow of Marquez in his rear-view mirror. Ahead of the 7th MotoGP series at Silverstone in 2025, many analysts and racing observers remain doubtful about Marc Márquez. The reason is simple. The 8-time world champion has never had an impressive record at the British circuit. Even during his golden era with Repsol Honda, Silverstone often proved to be a stumbling block. Ironically, however, the biggest pressure is not coming from Yamaha, Aprilia, or KTM, but from within Ducati's own headquarters. Marquez's presence at the Gresini Racing satellite team was initially considered a risky experiment. Many predicted he would have difficulty taming the Desmacedesi GP25's wild character. But those doubts slowly turned into fear, even within the Ducati Lenovo camp, the mainstay of the Borgo Panigale manufacturer. As the leading racing media outlet The Race wrote, Marquez has become the best Ducati rider in every race he has finished. This statement was not just praise but also a slap in the face to the Ducati factory team. While other riders gambled with tires and strategies in the unpredictable weather at Le Mans, Marquez performed brilliantly. He did not engage in reckless duels. He was not tempted to show off. Instead, he relied on the experience, intuition, and racing intelligence he had honed for more than a decade. The result? He avoided risks, controlled the race's rhythm, and outperformed his direct rivals, including his brother, Alex Marquez, and the defending champion, Pecco Bagnaia. While Bagnaia appeared overwhelmed by the pressure of high expectations, Marquez experienced an almost cinematic revival. Now, Marquez's name is the main topic of conversation in Ducati's strategy rooms, not as part of a future plan, but as a real threat they created themselves. It's a painful irony. A rider who was once doubted is now a nightmare from within their own home. Ducati may deny it, Davide Tardozzi may try to calm things down with carefully chosen words, and Marc Márquez may continue to smile with his characteristic calm, but one thing is increasingly difficult to deny. The relationship between Pecco Bagnaia and Marc Márquez is not as harmonious as it appears in public. However, it's becoming increasingly difficult to deny that the relationship between Pecco Bagnaia and Marc Márquez is not as harmonious as it seems in public. Behind gestures of mutual respect and professional-sounding statements, embers are slowly growing. If Bagnaia's performance does not recover quickly from its current slump while Marquez continues to dominate every race, the situation in the Red Garage could turn into an arena of open conflict. What has seemed like a Cold War could turn into a storm that shakes Ducati Lenovo's internal stability. It's not just about the title fight. It's also about status, influence, and leadership direction within a team at the peak of its technical performance. Is Pecco Bagnaia on the path to losing everything? Not just the world title, but also his control, influence, and position as the main leader of the Ducati team? Share your thoughts.